Hi, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am picking up the reading vlogs again. So this is Sunday before the second week back at school. We are finishing up first semester, and we have a work day on Friday, so potentially I can get through more books, although I am getting my booster shot hopefully on Thursday, so we'll see how I feel. It might just be a lot of audiobooks. Things have been going really well with reading so far this year, and I'm really excited about this reading vlog and the books that I'm going to be reading in it. These are the books that I plan to get to in this week's TBR for the reading vlog. First, I have Realmbreaker. I am setting my expectations really low because I have read something by Victoria Aveyard before and was not impressed. And this seems typical fantasy. Hopefully if I set my expectations low, then I won't be super disappointed. The audiobook that I plan to listen to this week, I have this book in physical form, but I realized that I needed to get another audiobook to get to my at least 50 audiobooks for the year goal, minimum of 4-ish per month. So I actually found this on audiobook via my library, so I will be listening to this throughout the week. If I finish it sooner than that, then I will be starting Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. The other two books that I would like to try to get to this week are, and of course I can't remember which comes first in the series, but obviously I will look before I start reading. A Vow So Bold and Deadly, A Heart So Fierce and Broken. I think this is book 2 and this is book 3. It follows Brigid Kemmerer's A Curse So Dark and Lonely series, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So I remember enjoying that, and I'm excited to look into and continue with this series. The last book that I hope to read in this reading vlog, probably will be towards the weekend, is Film Wizardry, the updated edition. As you will see in my wrap-up video later, I had the opportunity to read A Case of Beasts, which is the Film Wizardry for Fantastic Beasts, and it is phenomenal. So I'm really excited to read this one. I have a penchant for the art books. I love them, and they're quick and easy to get through. Here's to this week's reading vlog. So it's Monday evening, and I wanted to show you guys my new desk. I am super excited about it. Now, there's nothing wrong with the desk that I was using. It was basically a hand-me-down, and I wanted something that didn't necessarily have something that big and above the computer. Just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. But so my mom was helping me look for one. She showed me like 2 or 3, and this was like the second one, and I went, I like that, I want it. And she's like, you don't want to look for more? And I went, nope, I like that. And I know my own taste. Here is the new desk. I am so excited about it. I love the way the grain on the wood. So I believe this is still pressboard, but the way it was designed, I just love it. How open it is. It's open. It's gonna make me, hopefully, fingers crossed, keep my desk clean. I am keeping my journals here. So I've got my reading journal, my actual journal here. I've got my running journal here. And then I've got a day planner. I have this cute little bullet journal thing of my TBR that I decided to do. Love it. So I've got that in the first one. I've got some of the paper stuff here, and then the books that I read a few pages of every day right here. Then we get to the drawers. I love these drawers. This one right here is my favorite type of handle. I just love how it looks, the antique-y sort of look to it. I do like this one too, but so far this is the drawer that has the most in it. I've got pencils, I've got, well, pencils here, pens here. I've got more random assortments of stuff, but they're tucked away. They're nice and neat. I've got a few more journals here. This has miscellaneous things that I keep track of. This has a list of all the books in my library, glasses case, stickers. Then we have this drawer here, just has paper. I haven't decided what I'm going to keep in it. In this drawer is where the empty space is where I keep my camera, which I'm currently filming on. And then here I have my earrings. This might be a problem because I forgot earrings today. And then I have my pencil pouch. It's got some colored pencils in there that I use for the bullet journal. Now, a reading update. I have started reading Clap When You Land via audiobook, and I've read it before, and I absolutely love it. And wow, I don't remember who I heard recommend that you listen to this on audiobook. It's phenomenal. Now, because it's dual perspective, Elizabeth Acevedo does one of the perspectives. I don't know which one it is because they're both doing such a great job. I probably will finish that today or tomorrow. There'll be a little bit because it's a shorter book, plus it's written in verse, so it's not a very long audiobook. Thing that I haven't been having success with. I started reading this yesterday. It was a slog to get through as many pages as I did, which wasn't many. And immediately when I started reading the prologue, I'm like, she's trying to do epic fantasy here. She's trying, and she's not doing well. And then it gets into the other perspective, and I thought, okay, maybe this was like, oh, like this was the great catastrophe that set everything off, and let's get into typical YA fantasy. I don't know. It didn't. Still incredibly confusing. It's a huge book. It's almost 600 pages. I want to read it so I can cross it off my list, but if it is this much of a slog, I don't know. I might DNF it. Okay, so it is now Tuesday evening. Not much has changed with reading, but I did want to show you something that you've probably seen in the background of a couple of my other videos, and that is my new TBR cart. So it is a simple 3-tier cart. Each tier is sorted approximately. Here at the bottom, I have the books in Spanish that I haven't read yet. Since I read only a few pages a day, this tier is going to take the longest to change or shift or empty out. On the middle tier, I have nonfiction. I did have to turn those two books sideways because I realized that I have already read that biography of Tolkien. For some reason, I had forgotten that. So instead of having it on my TBR for this month, I picked a different book out. I picked the Salt, Fat, Fire, Acid cookbook by Sami Nusrat. I don't plan to cook anything by it, but I plan to read it. It's gorgeous. I love her a lot. So I did, trying to get that book out, quite the adventure. So I did end up putting those two books sideways so it's easier to get these books out of this middle shelf. But this is my nonfiction. Now, the stuff in the back, starting with the Mexican-American Revolution and then going back, those are things that I picked up from a really big, really good book sale, and I would kind of like to have them read before the book sale comes around again. And then here at the top, we have fiction. So on this end, we have, well, this is a poetry book written by a friend of mine, a former coworker, but other than that, these are young adult. These are actually screenplays of the Fantastic Beasts movies, and then these are adult, and then behind it we have the illustrated tales of Beetle the Bard. So there is my TBR cart. Reading-wise, I am about an hour or so away from finishing Clap When You Land. I knew that I loved this book, but Elizabeth Acevedo's language and word choice and word structure is just so gorgeous and so powerful, so impactful. If I wrote out all the quotes that I loved from this book, I would run out of room. I love most of it, basically. So I'm really excited about that. That's definitely going to be another 5-star read, reread. And then for Realmbreaker, I went into it knowing, hey, maybe low expectations. And then I actually really enjoyed it. Although it's kind of funny, after listening to Clap When You Land and the rhythm of the spoken word poetry, my brain is already thinking in that rhythm, and I start reading Realmbreaker with that rhythm. But I actually didn't mind it. It didn't seem like it was trying so hard. So I wonder what headspace I was in at first with it. I'll still give it a shot. I'm about at page 92, so hopefully it won't take me as long as it's projected if I read just 50 pages a day. Hopefully I'll be able to read some more. It might be better than I expected. Hey, so quick vlog update before I set up to film my next video. I finished Clap When You Land, and I still absolutely loved it. All of the things that I said before in the previous two clips, yeah, they still stand. I think that Elizabeth Acevedo is one of my absolute all-time favorite authors. It's just magnificent. I looked up to see if she had any more books coming out. There's a poetry book coming out later this year. Probably buy that. And she has her first adult novel coming out in 2023. And I'm like, why so far away? Okay, but I love it. I'm gonna save some more thoughts on it for my wrap-up. And I was actually gonna bring the book home from my classroom library, but I completely forgot, so I'll just put an image in it for the wrap-up. So I listened to the audiobook for about an hour every evening while I cross-stitch, and I had about 15 minutes or so beyond an hour. So I had about an hour, 15 minutes to finish it. So I didn't have as much time to read Realmbreaker, but it seems like setting my expectations low might have been the good idea. So I'm only at page 132 there, but I'm hoping to read a little bit more of that. And South Carolina is forecasted to get snow on Sunday. So potentially, even though we weren't going to have school on Monday anyway for Martin Luther King Day, I might get a cozy reading day with snow. So really excited about that. So it's Thursday, and I just got home after running a few errands. I went and picked up Daughter of the Deep from the library, finally available. And then I went over to get my booster. So I scheduled it for today because we have a teacher work day tomorrow. And I figured I could call out sick if I don't feel great, and I wouldn't have to make any extra plans, and they wouldn't have to pay for a sub. But then the district said, hey, we're gonna be nice. And we're gonna let you work from home tomorrow. Okay, great. So I don't have to take a sick day. Yay! So, I mean, that's if I felt bad. So I'm excited. I mean, I'm finally getting this after like a month after voting ended. The winners were announced. I'm adding this to my TBR. I started a new book last night. I started a new audiobook. I was going to read Why the Caged Bird. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. That's where the ing came from. By Maya Angelou, and I was going to listen to it because she narrates the audiobook. I thought I had already checked it out, but apparently I put it on hold, so that'll be my next audiobook. And I went on to Libro FM. I saw that I had a credit, so I looked, and there was an editor's pick, and it's How the Word Is Passed by Clint Smith. And it's a recent publication, super highly rated, and I know, and I've listened to like a third of it. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be excellent. Clint Smith is a poet as well, and I could hear that at the very beginning. I'm definitely gonna purchase this book to have a physical copy because there's so many quotes that I've been hearing, and I can't really write them down. But I want to remember them. I want to annotate it. I just want to sit with this for a while. So I will probably reread this book again this year, probably once I get the physical copy. But I will talk more about that as I listen to it more. So we've reached Friday afternoon. I didn't really feel many side effects from my booster, which is great. And I decided to treat myself with some Red Lobster. Yes, I know that looks like a rather large bag, but I found a 50% off promo code, but you had to spend $50. But I did the math and the figuring, and it was only like $2-3 more to get enough for up to $50 with the 50% off, so why not? I got some biscuits, I got some pasta, lobster pasta, and lobster mashed potatoes, and 2 different desserts. Obviously, I'm not going to eat all of those tonight, but I'm really excited. Before I dig into that, I will update briefly. I have continued to listen to How the Word is Passed. I cannot believe that I stumbled across this amazing book. So it's split into 6 parts, and the author, Clint Smith, visited 6 different locations dealing with the story of history, the story of slavery and how that story is told. The first place he visited was Monticello. Hearing him talk about how this one particular guide, I think his name was David, I'll have to look that back up again, how he told the story because Clint Smith specifically took the tour geared, more focused towards the effects, like Jefferson's interactions with his slaves. And that man, the guide, wow, so many amazing quotes. Then Clint Smith goes to the Whitney plantation, which is about an hour outside of Louisiana. I've never been there, but now I really want to go. So these visits that he makes, they aren't necessarily in chronological order, but this is the order that he tells it in. And I just started the section on Angola Prison. For those of you that don't know, Angola Prison used to be a plantation, and it's in Louisiana, and it was converted to a prison at the end of, after the Civil War. And there are pictures because for decades, the inmates were used for labor on the plantation. Like, it still ran as a cotton farm because that was one of the exceptions carved out in the 14th or 13th Amendment. As a history person, I should know which amendment this is. It's no man should be enslaved, but it gave this exception of except as a punishment for a crime. And so all these different state governments started adding all of these different crimes so they could increase their prison population and get this free labor that they used to have, but they no longer have because of the end of slavery. What fascinates me so much about this particular section is he's going to visit the prison, and the prison has a little museum, and he talks about the historiography of the museum. And that is something that I absolutely love. I love going to history museums and looking at the history and how the designers of this museum are choosing to tell it. A lot of times I'm not necessarily there to learn more, but what I do, learn more, actual specific facts. But what I do learn, what I look for is how are they telling the story? What can I glean about the story they're trying to tell, about about what they believe about their subject matter? This museum, it has a gift shop. It has a gift shop, and it's like you can go in and buy things that, say you're an inmate, and that Clint Smith talks about how, I don't know the word that I want, but just how awful that made him feel. Like, it's like how cringy, and it's like you're talking about buying souvenirs like you were a prisoner when there are people who are actually there, and many of them perhaps unjustly. And then on the other side, he talks about the way that they go out of their way to avoid talking about the fact that it was home to hundreds of slaves for decades. That's the part that I just finished up last night, and I'm absolutely loving it. Now, the other book that I'm reading, I have far fewer words for. I'm still reading through Realm Breaker. I am falling asleep while I'm reading, which is not helping as I read. However, I just am not connecting with any of these characters. Nothing right now feels poorly executed or anything like that. I have nothing invested with any of these characters. So we'll see if that will change. I do plan to finish it hopefully tomorrow, and then maybe a couple other books while I'm at it. I definitely hope to finish How the Word is Passed tomorrow, and maybe one other book before I wrap up this vlog. So it is now Saturday afternoon, and as my mom said, the winter storm sky is settling in, so tomorrow will probably be an awesome day of reading and relaxing, a great way to finish out the vlog, but we're not there yet. This morning when I woke up, I picked up Realmbreaker and finished that. It took a while because I had a lot left. I have more detailed thoughts in my wrap-up. My first thought that I expressed in the beginning of this vlog, it's still my overall thoughts. There were just a few more things that I elaborated on. I got a little bit farther in How the Word is Passed. I also decided I'm gonna go ahead and buy this book. So I went on to bookshop.org, purchased it. That should be here in a few days. I also realized earlier this week, and forgot to mention it, that I did actually purchase both Bone Shard Daughter and Bone Shard Emperor. They just shipped separately. So there was the big order with all the books that I did in that little haul, and then Bone Shard Daughter is coming separately. So I should get that sometime next week. I am going to finish taking down the tree, putting it away. That's the last of my Christmas decorations that I have to put away. And then I'm also planning to finish How the Word is Passed. Hopefully I'll finish that today. I'm absolutely loving it. Probably as an audiobook, the next thing that I'll pick up is The Firekeeper's Daughter, because my hold for I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings has not come in yet. As far as actual books, physical books, I mean, those aren't actually books. I was thinking about doing Daughter of the Deep next, but then I got an email this morning that my hold for A Vow So Bold and Deadly is coming due in a few days. So that means I need to read A Heart So Fierce and Broken. So I will probably read those next so I don't have to pay any library fees, because I think I have renewed that other one twice, but I'll check on that. So it's going to be one of those. I do intend to get a lot of reading done tomorrow. So welcome to Sunday morning and snow, a wintry wonderland. Well, for South Carolina, that's a wintry wonderland. Woke up to that and decided not to go back to sleep. So I picked up A Heart So Fierce and Broken. I had read about 50 pages last night and I finished it this morning. I loved it. It's one of those stories that you just get like lost in the story. It's a feel-good story. It's not like anything profound or anything like that, but I really enjoy how Brigid Kemmerer is dealing with the trauma that both Ren and Gray endured under the curse that's talked about in the first book. I love that she doesn't make it simple. I also adore Liamara, the new character introduced in this one, and I definitely plan to finish A Vow So Bold and Deadly today. I mean, with that outside, it's a perfect day for reading. I'll have more detailed thoughts on A Heart So Fierce and Broken in my wrap-up, but for now, I am going to finish making some more coffee, and I'm going to read some more. So I just wanted to pop on. I haven't read any more since the last update, but it's snowing. I don't know how well it's coming across on the camera, but this is unusual for this South Carolina girl. I love this light snow. I'm going to continue to watch some BookTube and get some puzzling done, and then maybe read a little bit later. So I'm here to wrap up the vlog. I didn't end up reading any more books before I'm wrapping up the vlog. I am going to finish up the night by starting Firekeeper's Daughter, but I'll include my thoughts on that in next week's vlog. I read 5 books. I read 2 audiobooks, Clap When You Land and How the Word is Passed. I finished How the Word Is Passed last night. It's my top book so far this year. Obviously, there hasn't been much of this year. I read 3 physical books. I read Realmbreaker, which took way too long. I read Film Wizardry of Harry Potter. That didn't take long at all. And I read A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I think this was a fairly successful reading vlog for a work week. Reading amount for a work week. Going into next week, we have a winter storm, like I've shown, all the snow. A lot of things are going to depend on whether the snow melts or not and how much ice we get, because it's the South and we're not prepared for winter weather. So that wraps up this first week of my 2022 reading vlogs, and I'll see you in the next one.